Hey everyone, welcome to Eternity in View series. We are super excited to have you here today. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit that subscribe button and join the Eternity in View series community.
If the message is not interpreted, then the gift is useless. Are you seeing that? That's why every time you receive the gift of tongues, somebody must be present to interpret it. And if somebody is not present, Paul said, pray for interpretation. Because the excellency of that gift comes to play when the interpretation comes. So the first thing we said was what? It's a message in an unknown tongue given supernaturally. The second thing we said about tongues is the fact that diverse kinds of tongues is different from praying in tongues. Praying in tongues is something you do at will. It is a language of your spirit. I'm an Idoma man, so as I grew up and I stayed around Idoma people, I started speaking Idoma. It's a language of my nature, my DNA. That code is in my DNA. My people speak that language. So, because my father spoke it, the code is in my DNA. The code is in my son's DNA. If he grows, after a while, he will start speaking it. And human language generally is in your DNA. If you are 5 years old and you are not yet talking, you are sick, you are dumb. Because it is expected for you to speak. The code of speaking human language is in your DNA. That's what speaking in tongues is. Everybody who is born again has encoded in his spirit man the ability to speak in a spirit language. But that is not a message for a people. Diverse kinds of tongues is a message given in a spirit language for a people. So, although it is a tongue, but it is a message. You are not generating it at will. The Holy Ghost is the one speaking it through you. So like Paul said in 1 Corinthians 14 verse 14, anytime I want to speak in tongue, I can speak in tongue. He said, when I pray in the spirit, he said, my spirit prayed. He said, my understanding is unfruitful. He now went to verse 15. He said, what will I do? He said, I will pray in the spirit and I will pray in my understanding. So you see that he was doing it by his will. It's not the Holy Ghost that will it. He said, I will. So anytime I want to, I will pray in the spirit. But when it's a message in tongues, you cannot will it. If it's a message in tongues or a diverse kind of tongue, the Holy Ghost will put the message on you. Sometimes you can just be praying with people. While you are praying in the spirit, the message will come. The tongue will change. Sometimes you are preaching. While you are preaching, the message will come. You will deliver it in tongues. When you finish, you go back to normal. It was the Holy Ghost that interrupted your vocal cord and gave you a message in an unknown language. So we said it's important for us to know the difference. Now, people argue most of the times, and what do they say? They say when they prayed in Acts chapter 2 verse 4, people understood them. Why are we praying in tongues now? Nobody's understanding us. There are two different things. What God did in Acts chapter 2 verse 4 is a sign to confirm the prophecy of Joel. And it's a diverse kind of tongue. It's not a prayer in tongues. It's a diverse kind of tongue. If you go to 1 Corinthians 14 verse 2, Paul said when you pray in an unknown tongue, he said no man understand you. He said how be it in the spirit you are uttering mysteries. So you are talking to God. It doesn't need interpretation. God understands every language. Does that make sense? So a tongue is a message supernaturally given in an unknown language. It is different from praying in tongues. Praying in tongues is a language of your human spirit, while diverse kinds of tongue is a message given to you in the language of the spirit. Are you following that? And we said when messages are given in tongues, there must be interpretation. Why is this thing important? And why am I emphasizing it? These are the simplest giftings, but they are the most abused. Somebody can come to a fellowship, people gather, and he carries the microphone. He starts doing like this. And he now move forward and say, Keleku peha tivaj. Gagibo bakaya. He will do it for 20 minutes and go back. What have you done, sir? He just wants people to know that he's a spiritual man. When he's doing it, sometimes emotional people, hey, Jesus is here. People will now fall down. And the more people are falling down, he obeke, hehula haki, saha, hubakaka, kea. He will now go home. You have not done anything. Paul said if somebody who is not an unbeliever comes there, will say you are mad people. When you do that, don't leave there until somebody interpret or you interpret, because you just wasted our time. But these things are abused. And then you find baby Christians everywhere doing things that are biblical nonsense. There must be interpretation so that the church is what? Edified. If you don't have the interpretation and nobody has the interpretation, we will pray there until God gives the interpretation, so that the body can be edified and there can be direction. Do you follow? That's why we are emphasizing it. So that you don't go and say, this new tongue I'm speaking is like a message. And you start giving messages that have no interpretation. We want to interpret that message. Don't give me a machine with manual in Russia. I want to use the machine. So change the manual to English language so that I can use it. Number 3, we said interpretation of tongues. And we also spoke about it. And we said interpretation of tongues comes to play when a message is given in tongues. And there are 3 things we said. Number 1, we said it's a supernatural insight given to you to interpret a message in tongue. It doesn't mean you know the language. Because you can finish interpreting that message, the next person speaks in an unknown language, you won't have interpretation. Now, why is this also important? Don't come to church and say you are an interpreter. And it looks as if you live with angels. So you know the language of angels. And so anytime people are praying in tongues, you stand like this. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord. Go away with your carnality. You don't know the language. That you interpreted a tongue does not mean you know the language. It means God has given you that gift. So if people speak in tongues, as the Holy Ghost wills, He can give you an interpretation per time. And people can also speak in tongues. You may not have the interpretation. Relax. Somebody else may have the interpretation. It's not your language. You were only given authority at a moment to interpret it. Now, if you grow that gift, you can start interpreting more frequently, because the Holy Ghost can be giving you understanding. But no matter how frequent you interpret, it doesn't mean that language has become your language. And it doesn't mean you know that language. The language will remain an unknown language. But you are given ability to know what is said per time.
Thank you so much for watching today's video. We truly appreciate you taking the time to be here. We hope you found the content valuable and that it sparked some ideas for how you can level up in your own life. If you take what you've learned here and start applying it, we truly believe you can see real changes. Whether it's improving your skills, achieving your goals, or simply getting inspired to take action, the power to transform your life is in your hands. Remember, the small steps you take today can lead to huge results tomorrow. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and leave a comment below. We'd love to hear your thoughts and what you plan to apply. And if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss out on more content like this. We've got so much more coming that could really help you on your journey, so stay tuned. Thanks again for being part of this community, and we'll see you in the next video. Keep going, keep growing, and take care.